Okay, in today's lecture, what are we going to study? We are going to discuss about how to express yourself, how to write something which is clear, which is concise, which is not ambiguous in nature. Because when you are going to write something, what you want to write or what you meant to write should be clear to the reader. This is the main thing. Okay, it should be very clear to the reader. If you create ambiguity in your writing, the reader is going to be misled, or he or she will be confused. And in our life, we'll be writing a lot. This is part and parcel of our life. Okay, we talk to people, we express things. When we express something, we try to express them in a clear way so that they can understand. Similarly, when you write something as well, you need to make things clear. So today in this lecture, what you are going to do is to know how to make your writing clear, how to look for certain common mistakes we do in our writing, how to correct ourselves, how to improve. At the end of today's lecture, you should be able to figure out, okay, these are the things I need to look for in my writing. These are my potential common mistakes in my writing. And then you should move towards enhancing, enriching your writing. As a technical communicator, somebody who has to write information for someone else, you should write it not just clearly, but also concise. Precisely, clearly, concisely you have to write. As long as you could write something clearly and precisely, people would think that you are a professional. You are somebody whom could be trusted in your work environment, right? And then they will start following you. They will read your materials, they will read your blogs, they will read your writings, they will read whatever you are writing around, and you become someone who could influence others, who could make changes in life. So it's very important to think how to write. Okay, so common mistakes we have, very common mistakes. We take two sentences, they are independent of each other. I mean, they are not related to each other. We just combine them into one compound sentence. You take two simple independent sentences, combine them into a compound sentence, like what we do in Arabic. For example, with wow, we just keep and. Similarly, we make like a long sentence. This is one common problem. A second one, okay, why I should keep a long sentence? Let me make a short sentence. Two highly related phrases or related sentences, I split them into two separate sentences. Instead of writing things together, I split them. Instead of keeping them separate, I join them. These are our common mistakes. Can you correct them right away? It does take time. You have to practice. So today I'm going to show you 4 types of common obstacles in our writing. Number 1 is called sentence fragment. Number 2, comma splices. Number 3, run-on sentences. Number 4, ambiguous pronoun references. So we will discuss these things. Right? Let us see through one by one. The first one is called sentence fragment. What do you mean by sentence fragment? Sentence fragments make up a sentence which is incomplete, which is not clear. Okay, it is incomplete in nature. Okay, something which is unclear to you. What are the possibilities of having this sentence fragment? The possibilities are, there are many ways, many reasons. One, probably you should have or you might have missed a verb, or maybe you have missed the independent clause of the sentence, right? So you got to introduce the verb in the right spot, and number 2, you got to add that independent clause and link it to the dependent clause. This is what you should do. Let's take some examples here. First example, the exam loss caused by lack of preparation. What is the problem behind this sentence? Exam loss. So probably you did not perform well in the exam. What was the cause behind it? Because you did not prepare, lack of preparation, right? The problem here is there is a verb missing in this sentence. How to correct it? I will show you later. Let's take the second example. A group project presentation with clipboard plotting, 3D animation, presentation slides, etc. This sentence is incomplete. Why it is incomplete? Because there are certain links which are missing. You're talking about a group project. Do you mean the project was presented, or the project is going to be presented, or you like the project, or it is a project you are pointing to something? All these aspects are missing there. This is the second problem. A third problem would be the teacher gave me DN in the course because my attendance in the course was below 25%. Here there are two sentences. If you carefully look at these sentences, both the sentences are related to one another. Why? The teacher gave me DN because of what? Because my attendance was below 25%. So they are really related to one another. Why should you split it into two separate sentences? You should not have splitted them into two separate sentences. Let's take this example and let's analyze how to correct them. The first example we saw, the exam loss caused by lack of preparation. A similar example is given here. Okay, these examples in the word file are coming from the book. The pressure loss caused by own gasket. Here, the gasket was the cause. By the way, the verb was is missing in this sentence. The problem is this verb here called was. When you add the verb was, then the sentence becomes complete. Pressure loss was caused by own gasket. Is it clear? Is it the only way to correct? No. You could correct a sentence in many ways. A second way would be we identified the pressure loss caused by a own gasket. So here we said identified. That was the verb you are referring to, or that is the verb you are referring to. Let's take the second example. A plotting program with clipboard plotting, 3D animation, and FFTs. Here I'm saying it is a plotting program with clipboard plotting and so on. So I'm making this sentence complete by pointing to somebody as saying it is a plotting program. Or I could also write like this. A plotting program with clipboard plotting, 3D animation, and FFTs will be released today. So I'm saying it will be released today. So this is what was missing, the clause that was missing in the original sentence. The sentence was a segment. It's a sentence fragment. Let's take another example. The article was rejected for publication because the data could not be verified. Like the example we have seen before, these two sentences are related to one another. Look at this. Because the data could not be verified, comma, the article was rejected for publication. Why did they reject? Because of this. The data could not be verified. So you could write like this, or you could change it like the article was rejected for publication because the data could not be verified. Please note, here there is no period, no full stop. So the uppercase B becomes a smaller case b. That is the difference here. So what is the difference between these two sentences here? You could write the dependent after the independent clause, or you could write the independent after the dependent. You could write in either way. Both are allowed, as long as you don't have ambiguity in your writing. Let's move on. Let's take another example. Delivering over 150 horsepower, right, horsepower, the 2-passenger coupe will cost over $32,000. You could write it like the 2-passenger coupe will deliver over this much and cost $32,000. Or you can say delivering over this, the coupe, 2-passenger coupe will cost over $32,000. Remember again, here we have replaced the period with the comma and we have replaced the uppercase with the smaller case here. That's it. So this is one scenario, one situation where we have these problems. The next one is called comma splice. This is a common problem among us. What we do, we have two sentences, we just join them together with a comma. We just join them with a comma. how to correct these kind of errors. You could join them with comma, but you you follow the comma with a coordinating conjunction. We do this, okay? You join it with a coordinating conjunction. This is what you do. Or you could have a semicolon, or you could have a period. Now you could ask me, when should I choose one of this and why? If you are going to write two sentences and both the sentences are very close to each other, highly related, then it is preferable to go with this approach. If the difference between them, the relation between them is not that close, then you could go for semicolon. If they are far from each other, then you could go for the period. Right, here is an example. CPIT 221 course is our most popular course, comma, it offers an unequaled blend of skills, learning and fun. In this sentence, you have combined two sentences. Sentence number 1 is this: from here you start until here. Okay. Sentence 2 starts from here, it ends here. So you have combined both of them into one single sentence with a comma. Is that right? No, there is something missing here. What is the missing part? You could have included what is called the coordinating conjunction. Okay, you missed the conjunction here. Second approach, styles in technical writing are useful for success, comma, why don't you replace this with a period, okay, a full stop, and start it as they, capital. They offer the much needed attention to our readers. Let's take some more examples for us to understand. Here is the scenario. The 909 printer, it is a model of the printer, is our most popular model, comma, it offers an unequaled blend of power and versatility. So here, instead of comma, you say comma for it or due to it, kind of. So you want to say comma with the coordinating conjunction. Or you can say like this: replace the comma with a semicolon, replace the comma with the period. We should go to this, we should follow this approach if the sentences are far apart from each other, their relationship is far apart. If the relationship is closer, you could use semicolon. If it is very close, then you could use this comma with the coordinating conjunction. Let's take the next scenario. This is called run-on sentences. By the way, the solution for run-on sentences is same as what you do in terms of comma splice. It is same. For the run-on sentence, it is also called as fused sentence. Here what we do, we combine two sentences together. You just combine them, two sentences, okay, together with no punctuation between them. No punctuation. You don't even put a comma, okay? You don't even write a comma. See the example here. So look at this, same example as before, but there is no comma here. Here, there is no comma. Some of us tend to write like this. Okay, how to sort it out? Same like before. You could use a comma with the coordinating conjunctions. You could use semicolon. You could use period. Same like what you did in case of comma splice. Let's look at the next scenario. Ambiguous pronoun. First of all, what is pronoun? Why do you use a pronoun? Okay, why should I use a pronoun here? Pronoun is used to refer to a noun. This noun is called as antecedent. Okay, you are referring to this guy. That is the idea of pronoun. But if you are going to refer things in an ambiguous way, people will not understand what you are really referring to. So to solve this problem, you could use one of these approaches. You could use clarify what is antecedent, right? Clarify the relative pronoun when you use which, for example. Clarify the subordinating conjunction when you use where. And also make sure if we use an ambiguous pronoun at the start of a sentence, also clarify it. Let's take some examples. Here are some examples. Our CPIT 221 instructor told us to record a video on our mobile phone and analyze it. Here, you understood that you are asked to record a video. Where? On your mobile phone. And then it says analyze it. This is your pronoun. What does it refer to? It refers to the video or it refers to the mobile phone. By logic, you can simply say it refers to the video, right? Because you analyze a phone here. But if you look at the sentence, it is still ambiguous. It is not clear. Let's take the next example. I have decided to complete the assignment, which would take 2 weeks. So, which? You are talking about the assignment or you are talking about completing the assignment? What are you talking about? Right? Next, new teaching strategies introduced in 221 will be useful to the students. These are part of next instructors meeting. Here, these refers to what? Refers to its usefulness to the students or refers to the teaching approaches? What are you referring to? The next one, my interest in 221 is more than some other course, for example. More than what? More than your interest? What are you referring to? Let's see examples to analyze them. By the way, the examples I'm showing you in the Word file are accessible for you if you click this link. When you click here, you will have those files with you, right? Let's go back here. The run on is same as comma splice, so I'm going further. Let's take this example. Remove the cell cluster from the medium and analyze it. Should I analyze the medium or the cell cluster? Not clear. So instead, you could write like this. Analyze the cell cluster after removing it from the medium. Analyze the medium after removing the cell cluster from it. So I'm making clear what to analyze. Or you could write, remove the cell cluster from the medium, then analyze the cell cluster. Like this, you could write it. Okay. I would prefer to write something like this over this one. Okay. There are preferences. Let's take the next one. She decided to evaluate the program, which would take 5 months. Is the evaluation going to take 5 months? Or is the program 5 months long? What are you referring to? It is ambiguous now. Instead, you could write, she decided to evaluate the program, a process that would take 5 months. Here, by the word process, I'm referring to the evaluation process. She decided to evaluate the 5-month program. So here, I'm clear cut to say the 5 month refers to the program. Let's take another example. This procedure will increase the handling of toxic materials outside the plant, where adequate safety measures can be taken. Here, this where refers to what? Are you referring to the plant? Are you referring to outside the plant? Are you referring to this guy or the plant itself, meaning inside the plant? Not clear. So instead, you could write like this. You could write the first part of the sentence. Then say, because adequate safety measures can be taken only in the plant. Here they say only outside the plant. So they are clarifying the ambiguity. They are making the sentence unambiguous in nature. Okay. Let's talk about this sentence. Aliphanate linkages. Maybe you don't know what does this mean. Doesn't matter for now. Are the most important structural component of polyurethane elastomers. They act as cross-linking sites. They means what? Am I referring to the elastomers or am I referring to aliphanate linkages? Which one is that they referring to? Again, unclear. To make it clear, you could write aliphanate linkages, which are among the most structural components of this, act as this. So I'm referring to aliphanate linkages. Another example, the new parking regulations require that all employees pay for parking permits. These are on the agenda for the next Senate meeting. These refers to what? Does it refer to a permit or does it refer to the regulation? To make things clear, You could say these regulations. So these are some examples and some scenarios where we make mistakes. Okay. Having seen these examples, now we move to next level. There are certain signs you can look for in your writing. By the way, whatever I'm discussing today, can you just learn them and then do it a la tool? Learn them and do it straight away? Not possible. Okay. What you got to do is you got to write in your normal way and go through second round, correct it, then correct it. Slowly your writing skill will improve. This is the idea, right? You could follow this in your weekly writing skills as well. Let's talk about compare items clearly. Look at this sentence. iPhone 10 has more storage than iPhone 9, iPhone X for example. Here I'm saying more storage. I'm comparing one device with another using storage as my comparison. Let's take this example. Dolphins eat more than sharks. Do you mean dolphins will eat sharks? Also, they eat something more? Or do you mean the amount of food that dolphins eat is more than the amount of food sharks eat? What do you mean in this sentence? It is not clear now. To make it clear, you could write like this. It's just one single extra word addition. It will make things clear. One single word. Okay, very simple change. Dolphins eat more than sharks do. So here you are referring to what sharks eat, the amount of food the shark eats. So you are saying dolphins are going to eat more amount compared to sharks. Let's talk about more examples. Okay, let's go back to our example sheet, the word file. Okay, here. Take this example. The resistance of the copper wiring is lower than the thin wiring. What are we comparing? Are we comparing copper wire with thin wire? Are you comparing the resistance of the copper wire with the thin wire? Actually, our intention is to cover resistance of the copper wire with the resistance of the thin wire. Okay, this is what we are trying to compare. To do that, you could write like this. Let's say I'm writing a sentence. The resistance of the copper wire is lower than the resistance of the tin wiring. Is it okay? Sentence is okay, but not a good sentence, not a well-framed sentence. Instead, you could write like the resistance of the copper wiring is lower than that of the thin wiring. I'm referring this, that refers to the resistance. Okay. Let's move back to our slides. Adjectives. What is an adjective? Normally, if you want to elaborate, you want to modify a noun, we have an adjective. Adjectives precede the noun and you will elaborate on them. This is what we do, right? So the problem is when you have multiple adjectives before the noun. If you have more than one adjective before the noun, either you could have a comma between them or you could have a hyphen between them. It depends. If you want to make up a compound, if you have a compound adjective, meaning an adjective which is made up of two or more words, a single adjective but made up of two or more words, you join them using hyphen. If you are having separate coordinate adjectives, you can combine them using a comma. Let's take an example. Let's talk about a device. You want to say programmable, portable, both are adjectives. So you will say portable, comma, programmable device. You could say adjustable, comma, removable machine. Okay. Don't use and here. Use comma when you want to combine, when you want to join two adjectives. Let's take another example. A reversible electric drill. There is no comma here. Why? Why there is no comma? Because this word electric is not considered as an adjective. We are considering the whole word, the two words, electric drill, as a noun by itself. So here we have only one adjective which refers to this noun. If let's say you have two adjectives, a two-speed reversible electric drill. So here this is one adjective, this is the second adjective. So we combine them using a comma. Let's take another set of scenario. You have adjectives which are called as compound adjectives. As I have briefed you earlier, compound adjectives are made up of two or more words. You combine them using a hyphen. For example, state art, cost of living, variable angle. So you will find here I'm combining things using a hyphen. Right? Let's look at this example. An operator initiated default prevention technique. What are we doing? This is one compound adjective, another compound adjective, and the noun is following. Is it a clear statement? Is it something clear for us? Is the clause or the phrase clear to you? No. You have overwritten something. You have written too much. It is better to write it like this. A technique initiated by the operator to prevent default, to be more precise and more clear. So our idea is this, to make the reader understand us clearly. Let's take another scenario. Subject verb agreement. This is one common mistake where a good number of us make. You have a sentence where you have a subject, and then you also have what is called prepositional phrase. This is the prepositional phrase, this one. The prepositional phrase has an object. This is your object. Okay, this is your subject. Now my question is, when you have your verb here, this is your verb, this should be singular or plural. The verb relies on the subject, not on the object, prepositional phrase. So the result of the test is, because you are referring to result. Similarly, the results of the test are, because you are referring to the subject, not to the object. Okay. Let's take the next scenario. We have what is called pronoun, what is called antecedent. Pronoun is something that refers to the noun. What is antecedent? Antecedent is the thing that you are referring to. Antecedent is actually the noun the pronoun is referring to. In some situations, our noun or the antecedent is what is called as a collective noun. Collective noun can be considered as singular, also can be considered as a plural. Depends on the sentence, depends on how you use it. Okay, it depends. So for example, the company here, the word company, the company is proud to announce a new stock option plan for their employees. There is the pronoun. The company is your antecedent. So question is the word company, is the antecedent company singular or plural? Here we are considering company as a single unit. So you should change the there to its. Keep it singular. Sometimes, okay, we talk about even the collective pronoun as plural. Okay, let's see some examples right now. Here are some examples here. The inspection team has prepared their reports. Here the there is referring to the inspection team. You might wonder, inspection team is also a collective antecedent or collective noun. Why are you referring it as plural now? Because we are referring to the members of the inspection team. So you could write like this: the members of the inspection team have prepared their reports. So this there actually refers to the members. This is implied here. That is why we consider the inspection team as a plural, not as a singular. Let's take the next step. When you write professional documents or technical communication documents, you normally use or generally you use two tenses. One is called as present tense, the other one is called past perfect tense. These are the two. Present tense normally explains things which are repeating, things like some principles. Past perfect tense is used to say things which happened in the past. Again, when you see this pause for practice, you click on this, you will get the word file, which I am actually referring to you right now. Let's see this. In 1992, McKay and his co-authors argued that the atmosphere of Mars was salmon pink. The question is, yes, they have noticed the atmosphere of the Mars was salmon pink. Is it salmon pink now also? What is the status of atmosphere of Mars now? If it is still salmon pink, then we have to use present tense instead of using the past. Okay, instead of saying was, you say here is. Right? 1992, McKay and his co-authors argued because of this 1992 that the atmosphere of Mars is salmon pink. If you remove the year, then you could write McKay and his co-authors argue that the atmosphere of Mars is salmon pink. So right now you are making a statement which is valid, which was valid before, and it is still valid now. So we are using a present tense here. Let's move on with another example. We had begun evacuation when the foreman discovered the burial remains. Here we are using the past perfect tense. Past perfect. We say here had begun. Right? Why did we use this? Because the process has started before itself. Okay. Similarly, the seminar had concluded before I got a chance to talk with Dr. San. Right? Before I could do this, this happened. Okay. So I'm using the past perfect tense here. Let me go back to our slides now. Okay. This ends this chapter, by the way. So I will just go and give you a quick review what we have seen before I go to some other material for you today. You have sentence fragment, comma splice, run-on sentences, ambiguous pronoun. 4 types. Okay. Sentence fragment, you know, normally verb issues, right? It is incomplete sentence. Comma splice and run-on sentence, you know, you could correct them using comma with, you know, conjunction, using period, using semicolon. Ambiguous pronoun, make sure the pronoun refers to the correct antecedent, right? Then you have next step, you have comparing the items clearly. Make sure what you are comparing is clear. You talk about adjectives. When you have adjectives, there are 2 ways. One is to use comma, one is to use hyphen. Then when you talk about subject verb agreement, if the subject is singular, verb should be singular. If it is plural, subject is plural, verb should be plural, irrespective of what is given in the prepositional phrase that follows the subject. Okay, that is actually the prepositional phrase is between the subject and the verb. Then about the pronoun and the antecedent, depends on what is your antecedent. If you are using a collective noun as the antecedent, it depends how you are referring it to. Are you referring it as a singular noun or a plural? Based on this, you change. And in terms of tenses, we have seen scenarios of using a present tense and using a past perfect tense. Let me go and show you something else as well. Right. We have what is called non-restrictive clause and restrictive clause. What is restrictive, non-restrictive? Whenever you are going to talk about something, you could either restrict or you could be non-restrictive. Let me give you a simple example. My brother Ahmed. The word Ahmed, the name of the person Ahmed, is it restricting? Is it restricting my brother? Yes. Why? Because I might have many brothers, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm specifically referring to Ahmed. So I'm restricting. Instead, if I change my sentence into my father and I write his name there, the name is not restricting because there's only one father. It is not restricting anything. It is just giving some extra information. That is called non-restrictive in nature. So let's take this example. My cousin Bob. This Bob here is actually restricting because there might be many cousins with different names. Our oldest daughter, here it says Mary. This name here is giving the name of the person. Why? You cannot have more than one oldest daughter. So please note, if you are going to write some restrictive clause, there is no comma there. There is no parenthetic. Okay, there is no parenthesis. If you are going to indicate a non-restrictive one, you write them within comma. Is that clear now, gentlemen? Are you following? So if it is non-restrictive, you have comma. If it is restrictive, there is no comma. Let me give you some more example. Someone would ask me, should I use comma always with a conjunction or can I avoid it? Here is a scenario. The situation is perilous, but there is hope. But there is hope. Preceding to the conjunction, I have a comma. But there are situations when you have a conjunction like and you don't have a comma. You don't have a comma. Okay? And is actually bringing things very close. When you bring things close, you will not introduce a comma here. For example, he has had several years of experience and is thoroughly competent. So the experience and the competency, they are highly related. So you combine them using a conjunction called and you don't include a comma here. That's it. But if you are going to refer a series of elements, series, apple, comma, orange, comma, like this, then if you have an and for the last element, you precede it with a comma. You write a comma there. Okay. So red, comma, white, comma, and blue. So here you have a comma. By the way, some people or some writers don't use the comma before the last and here. They remove this comma here. Okay. But a general practice nowadays is to have a comma here as well. You will find the usage of comma when you want to combine things in a series of elements, and in that series some of the elements have and inside. Okay, let's take an example. If you are going to talk about different faculties at KU, so computing and information technology, do you write a comma there between computing and? No. But when you have the second faculty, third, and your last faculty, you will say and the name of the last faculty, you precede the last and with a comma. Am I making things clear to you, gentlemen? Are you following me? Okay. Then there are many such situations here. Okay. You can write some expressions within comma as well. You could write sometimes some expressions within a dash. Okay, so take this example. His first thought on getting out of bed was to get back in again. I did not read what was within what is written within the dash. So without reading the dash, the sentence is still complete. Then you could ask me why there is a dash, then why do you need it? Basically, dash, the ones between the dash is kind of some explanation, some extra information. That's it. Okay, you could do that. So there are lots of such scenarios. Please always, when you read sentences and write sentences, be careful on what you're writing. Let me take one more example. I met them on this liner many years ago, coming home from Liverpool to New York. There is a comma here. Why? I'm actually combining these two. The sentences are related to one another. If they are related, please don't split them into multiple sentences using a period, using a full stop. Any questions to me, gentlemen? Anybody has any questions? So this is the summary of today's lecture. Okay.